This is Senior Algebra, Section 5.5, Multiplying Polynomials. Today, we're taking a look at multiplying two polynomials and a method called the FOIL method, which is a specific method used to multiply binomials here. So, let's recall here, multiplying here. We take the number on the outside, multiply it to every term on the inside. So I'm going to take the -4 and multiply it to both things here. I get -8x and plus 20 here. Things to remember here, signs are important, so make sure we are diligent about that. In B, I'm going to do the same thing. Remember, x times x squared, that's going to be x cubed, so I get 6x cubed plus 15x squared minus 24x. So this leads us into multiplying polynomials. Polynomials more than one here. So in C, we have two polynomials that we're multiplying. These are, in fact, binomials they're called. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to distribute. I'm going to take the first one, 3x, and I'm going to distribute it to the 2x and to the 5. So 3x times 2x is 6x squared, and 3x times 5 is 15x. But now I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to take the -4, and I'm going to distribute that. So I distribute twice, basically. -4 times 2x is a -8x, and -4 times 5 is a -20. At this point, I'm going to look to combine my like terms here. The 15x and the -8x I can put together to get 6x squared minus 7x minus 20. So again, it's repeated distributing, basically. So I'm going to do the same thing in D here. I'm going to take the first term, x, and I'm going to multiply it to everything in the other polynomial. So x times 2x squared, 2x cubed. X times 5x is 5x squared. And x times -4 is -4x. Now I'm going to do the same thing again with my second one, number 3. I'm going to distribute it to each of the terms there. So minus 6x squared, minus 15x, and plus 12 here. And then I'm going to look to see what I can combine together. Remember, like terms, same variable, same exponent here. I have a 5x squared and a -6x squared. I'm going to put those together. I also have a -4x and a -15x. I can put those together as well here. So I'm going to get 2x cubed. And 5x squared and -6x squared is just -1x squared, or minus x squared. -4x and -15x, that's a -19x, and then plus 12 here. In example 2, we're going to use the horizontal method, and we're going to multiply here. So I'm going to distribute twice. 2x times each of those terms in the second part, and then 5 times each of the terms. So 2x times x to the third power is 2x to the fourth. 2x times -4x squared is -8x cubed. And then we have plus 2x squared, and then minus 14x. I'm going to do the same thing now with 5, and I'm going to distribute it to each of those things. So 5 times x cubed, 5x cubed. 5 times -4x squared is -20x squared. 5 times x is 5x, and 5 times -7 is -35. At this point now, I'm going to look and see what are my like terms. So I got 2x to the fourth. Are there any other x to the fourth in there? No. So I'm just going to write 2x to the fourth down. -8x cubed. Are there any other 8x or x cubes? Yep. So I'm going to put those together. -8 and a +5 is a -3x cubed. Positive 2x squared and -20x squared, I'm going to put those together and get -18x squared. -14x and positive 5x, I'm going to put those two together and get a -9x. And then the negative 35. There's no other constant there, so I'm just going to write negative 35. That would be the horizontal method. If you want to do vertical, you could do vertical as well. That would be up to you. So I do the same thing, x squared, multiply it to both of them. To all three of them, I should say, all three terms in the second polynomial. 4x to the fifth, x squared times negative 2x squared is negative 2x to the fourth. And then plus 5x to the third. 4x to the third. So I'm going to do the same thing with the 5 now. I'm going to multiply the 5 into both things. Again, I'm basically distributing twice here. So 5 times 4x cubed is 20x cubed. So the x cubed, I'm going to put it under the other x cubed. When I take 5 times negative 20x squared, I'm going to put it, negative 2x squared, I get negative 10x squared. And 5 times 4x is 20x. And then I just add down. So I lined up my like terms, my x cubes in this one. Those are the only ones that I could combine. I don't care which method you do. Some people like organizing it vertically. Some people will just multiply it out and do it horizontally. Doesn't matter to me. So the last thing we're looking at is a specific method of multiplying binomials, a pneumatic device to kind of remember how to do it. Now, for me, I just have to remember you have to distribute twice. Some people like this way. It's called foiling. Most of you have heard of it. Foiling means first, outer, inner, last. Two binomials. So if I have a plus b times c plus d, those are two binomials, two terms multiplied together. The f, I'm going to multiply the first terms together. So if I look, which are my first terms? I'm going to do the outer terms. Then I'm going to multiply the inner terms. And then I'm going to multiply the last terms. So in practice, when I have a plus b and c plus d, the first terms, well, the first ones in each of the binomials, well, that would be a and that would be c. Okay, so I multiply a times c. Whatever I get, I get. The outer terms now, well, that's going to be which ones are on the outside of the two things. Well, a and d. So I'm going to multiply a times d. Again, what is this? Basically distributing twice. I'm going to take the a and multiply it to the c, take the a and multiply it to the d. Okay? The inside ones, the ones that are close together, that's going to be b and c. So now I'm going to distribute again with the b here, b times c. And then the last terms in each of the polynomials, or each of the binomials, are b and d. So it's b times d. So let's take a look at a couple binomials to multiply here. So the first one I'm going to think about it as foiling here. I'm going to multiply the first ones, the outer ones, the inside, and the last ones here. I could also think about it as just distribute twice. 3x times 2x, 6x squared. 3x times 5, 15x. Those the first and the outer. Now the inside ones, or distributing again, negative 8x and negative 20. Again, I look, what can I combine together? In this case, I can combine the two middle terms, 15x, negative 8x. So I get 6x squared plus 7x minus 20. In B, I'm going to do the same thing. FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. The first one's x times x is x squared. X times 4 is 4x. Now, I'm going to do this one vertically. 4 times x is 4x. I'm going to put it under the other 4x. And then 4 times 4 is 16. I'm going to add my like terms together, so 4x and 4x gives me 8x, so I get x squared plus 8x plus 16. And then the last one, C here. This is a special one, which we'll take a look at a little bit later here. I'm just going to multiply it out first, outer, inner, last. And when I combine my inside terms, my two middle ones, they cancel out. 6x and a negative 6x becomes 0x, or just 0. So I'm left with x squared minus 36.